I'll tell you, so the evangelicals didn't vote for him. You know why? Because they don't like liars. They're really smart people. They don't want to vote for a liar.
Trump on the stump last night, the Donald there as a prelude to the Nevada caucuses tonight. And the candidate is sticking to his guns with familiar attack themes against Ted Cruz. Now, the GOP frontrunner has a comfortable lead going into tonight's caucuses, but can he hold on, and who might end up in second place? Let's go in depth now with our panel. Skyping in from Las Vegas, the guy who introduced the Donald to that rally last night, a political commentator, and the 2008 Libertarian candidate for vice president, Wayne Allyn Root. And Skyping in from New York City, we're always pleased to have the columnist for the Fiscal Times, Liz Peek. Wayne, first to you. The Donald's anti-China rhetoric and blasting the current administration and its history of one-sided trade deals seems to be resonating in Nevada. That state, of course, like many others, hit hard by the recession. Will that work for him in tonight's caucuses, and will it continue on past Nevada?
Well, I think it's a great issue, JD. And yes, I was Master of Ceremonies opening speaker last night. It was a great honor. 10,000 people in attendance, the biggest gathering, political gathering, we believe, of any kind in the history of Las Vegas. Electricity in the air. Only Donald can make that happen. So I think it's going to be a big day today, a big double-digit win that'll move him towards the nomination even closer. As far as China, listen, I don't think anyone in Las Vegas or the Nevada caucuses is voting today based on China, but they're voting on the general idea that Donald can return jobs and prosperity to the United States, and that comes with lower taxes, less regulation, get rid of Obamacare, and yes, fight China and make sure, I don't mean fight a war, but we are fighting an economic war, and make sure we're being treated fairly. Make sure.
You know, Wayne, it's funny you should mention the word war, because Liz, the National Review calls for a, quote, total war on Trump. You may recall that publication with an entire anti-Trump issue. Will National Review and other establishment publications prevail and somehow persuade voters to bypass Donald Trump?
Well, I think it's rare to call National Review an establishment organization. Look, their concern is like Ted Cruz's concern, that Trump's policies are really not policies. They're opinions. They're all over the map. They're not really conservative. But I think Wayne's totally right. He is reaching people, unusual people for a Republican electorate, blue-collar workers. We know that Nevada has an above-average union representation. Those people are very worried about lost jobs. It's pretty easy to blame them on China. By the way, it's not so easy to bring those jobs back, and they're not going to be brought back by slapping enormous tariffs on Chinese imports. But this is an emotional response. It's working very well for Trump. And, you know, I mean, it's hard to really figure out what's going to dissuade people from voting for that.
Wayne, you mentioned last night's big rally, and Liz gives you cred for being on the ground there in Nevada. Did you see evidence of those labor Democrats, those Reagan Democrats, at last night's rally?
Yeah, not only did I see evidence, this is the third time in the last 6 weeks Donald has had giant events in Nevada, and I've been blessed all three times to be the opening speaker and Master of Ceremonies. And each time after the event, after I was done speaking, I waded into the audience and did my high fives and my hellos and backslaps and got to meet people. And the crowd is exactly what Liz just said. They are primarily, well, a mixture of real conservatives and patriots, and then you've got a gigantic contingent of former Democrats or present Democrats, working class or middle class, quite a few union members, and then a large contingent of people, JD, who have never voted in recent elections at all, Republican or Democrat, and they're back in the process because they love the electricity, the excitement, and the personality of Donald Trump. It's working.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight in the caucuses. And with a minute remaining, let me get back to Liz. Liz, who do you think will finish second tonight? Because it sounds like Trump has got this thing locked up. Will it be Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz tonight in the number 2 spot?
Well, I think what you always hear about Cruz is that he has an extraordinary ground game. His organization is highly efficient. It's very aggressive. And that raises a question for him right now because he's been really called out for a lot of so-called dirty tricks. Donald Trump is talking about that. Certainly Rubio is. Carson has been. You know, I think Cruz is sailing a little close to the edge in terms of propriety some of the time. That could help Rubio. Rubio stumbled in the debate in New Hampshire. I think Cruz has had a little stumble here in terms of not being thought to be a fair player. That hurts people because he's going after evangelicals and people who have a pretty high moral compass. So,
and of course, never a stumble from Liz Peek nor from Wayne Allyn Root. We thank you both for your time tonight. This programming reminder, stay right here with Newsmax TV for our coverage of the Nevada caucus. That coverage begins with Ed Berliner immediately following this program, so stay tuned.